Welcome to Learn English Speaking. Let's Talk Stories. Here we bring you amazing stories to improve your English fluency. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more exciting lessons. Let's learn together.
Chapter 1 A New Life.
No, it isn't true. It can't be true.
Matt Johnson woke up. It was that nightmare again. The same nightmare every night for 6 weeks. It was so real. His parents are in the car. They're happy. They're laughing and talking about the summer holidays. 2 weeks in Florida. Disney World, Cape Canaveral, the ocean to swim in. A 12-year-old kid's dream. Suddenly, the car is out of control. Matt's dad is a good driver, but he can't stop the car. It's going too fast. It's too late. There's a tree.
Fast.
A terrible sound of metal breaking. Now there's silence. The car is upside down. Only a wheel is moving. It turns and turns and turns. Matt put his head in his hands and cried, like he did every night.
It can't be true.
But it was true. His parents were dead, and Matt was alone now.
"Cry, Matt, cry. Don't worry,"
said a gentle voice. The sad, kind face of an old lady appeared in the light of the lamp next to Matt's bed.
I'm sorry, Gran,
said Matt, and looked up. In the lamplight was the pale face of a desperately unhappy young boy. It was a nice face, but his blue eyes were still full of tears.
I'm sorry,
he repeated.
Gran, when will I start to forget?
"You'll never forget,
said his grandmother.
but one night your nightmares will stop. Then you'll start to dream of the happy times with your mum and dad. Happy memories never die."
Matt's grandmother smiled. She was a wise old woman and the ideal person to help Matt at this difficult time.
"Let's go into the kitchen for some hot milk."
Matt got out of bed. He was quite tall for his age, and already looked down on his little grandmother. She was small, but she had a big heart. It was difficult for her, too. Jane, her daughter, was dead, and Philip, Jane's husband and Matt's father, too. But now there was Matt to take care of. Matt was her world now.
"Will you like living here?"
she asked him as they drank their milk.
I don't know.
Answered Matt, tired and sad.
It's so different. I liked Newbridge very much. It was a nice city, not too big, and the people in the north are kind and friendly. I had a lot of friends. Greenwood's okay, but it's a very quiet suburb, and it's difficult to get to the centre of London from here. I haven't got any friends here, except you, Gran, and there's no Newbridge United, and no swimming club.
"Poor Matt. You'll see, things will change. There are a lot of football teams in London. There's a swimming pool near here. And of course you'll make friends. You'll see. But now, Matt, it's time to go back to bed. Tomorrow's a big day. Your first day at your new school."
Chapter 2 A New School.
Greenwood Middle School or Greenwood Prison? It was 9:15 and Matt was outside the school gate. The gate was closed, but through the iron bars he could see the school. It was a big, old, austere building made of grey stone. There were 2 floors, with windows with iron bars. On the ground floor there were 3 entrances with doors made of wood. Over the central door was the school motto in big black letters. It was in Latin.
Fugerit aetas, carpe diem,
Read Matt.
time flies, live for the day.
Above the door on the left was the word boys, and over the door on the right the word girls. Matt smiled.
That's stupid,
Thought Matt.
boys and girls have to go in different doors.
Matt stopped smiling when he looked around. A lot of children were now outside the iron gate, all dressed identically. The school uniform. Now he remembered, at Greenwood School, uniform was obligatory. Matt, in his blue jeans, black trainers, and red Newbridge United football shirt, felt very out of place. All the other children were wearing their green wool blazers. The boys with black trousers and a white cotton shirt, the girls with dark skirts and white blouses. Then Matt noticed the green and gold school ties.
They wear ties to school too,
He thought.
Oh no, this place is really behind the times.
He felt hundreds of eyes on him. He wanted to go home, but it was too late. The gate was open. The bell rang, and the children started to go in, all talking and laughing. They were happy to see their friends again. Matt was very unhappy. He felt very lonely.
Boy!
Matt heard an angry adult voice. He looked round.
Yes, you boy, where is your uniform?
Matt saw a short, thin man with an angry red face.
I'm sorry, sir.
He said.
It's my first day.
The man, obviously a teacher, looked at him carefully.
From your clothes and your accent, you must be Johnson, the new boy from the north.
Yes, sir. Matt Johnson,
Replied Matt.
Johnson at this school.
The man continued.
We use surnames here, and I'm Mr. Briggs. Did your parents forget your uniform?
Matt was hurt, but replied,
My parents are dead, sir.
Oh, yes. Now I remember. That accident. It was in the newspapers. Your father was that famous lawyer. Well, I hope you'll buy a uniform as soon as possible.
And Mr. Briggs went away. Matt was devastated. He didn't have the right clothes or the right accent. And his dad, a hero for a lot of people, now seemed an inconvenience. He felt terrible. He wanted to go back to Newbridge.
Be careful.
Said a girl's voice. Matt turned and saw a pretty blonde girl smiling at him.
You can't go in here.
She continued.
This is the girls' entrance. Mr. Briggs will shout at you again.
Thanks,
Said Matt.
Hey, what's your name?
But the girl was already inside.
Chapter 3. A bully.
After a disastrous first day at school, Matt was very unhappy.
What's the problem?
Asked his gran.
Nobody talked to me. The teachers were horrible and the lessons were boring.
He answered.
I'm going to watch TV.
His gran smiled kindly and said,
Things will change, Matt.
That night Matt didn't have his nightmare. He dreamt of the blonde girl. She was the only reason to go back to school. The next day, Matt went by bike to school. It was a sunny day, and the birds sang happily. He arrived early.
Perhaps today will be better,
he thought. He put his bike in the bicycle shed and walked towards the boys' entrance. Near the girls' entrance, he saw the blonde girl from yesterday, talking to a tall boy. Matt looked at the blonde girl. She had the same green eyes and pretty round face he remembered from his dream. He thought,
She looks really nice, and she spoke to me yesterday. I'm going to say hello.
As he came near, he saw the girl looking angrily at Briggs. He heard her saying,
No, I don't want to watch your silly football match. Leave me alone.
She went towards the entrance, but Briggs stopped her.
Don't be stupid. You must come with me. It's an important match, and I'm the captain. And I want you there to support my team,
he said, catching her arm. The girl pulled away.
Don't touch me. I'm not interested in you or your stupid football match,
she shouted. Her face was red, and she looked very annoyed. Briggs looked furious.
It's not a stupid match,
he said loudly.
It's very important. We're playing at the local stadium.
And he continued to hold the girl's arm. Matt saw this. He felt angry and decided to help the girl. He walked towards them and said quietly to Briggs,
Leave her alone. Now.
Briggs looked at him. He was surprised and released the girl's arm. She moved away and looked at Matt gratefully.
Who are you? What do you want? Don't tell me what to do,
Briggs shouted aggressively. But Matt wasn't frightened. He said calmly,
Go away, and don't annoy her again. She's not interested in you.
Briggs moved towards Matt. But Matt was taller, and he looked very determined. The bully stopped.
You'll pay for this, I promise,
he shouted threateningly. Matt didn't react. Briggs turned and looked at the girl.
I won't forget,
he said, and walked away. The girl looked at Matt and smiled warmly.
Thank you for your help. He's a horrible pest, and he always annoys me. This time he was really angry,
she said. Matt smiled too.
No problem. Perhaps he will leave you alone now.
I hope so. Thanks again. What's your name?
she asked.
Chapter 4. A New Friend.
My name's Matt. Matt Johnson. You spoke to me yesterday,
he said.
Yes, I remember. My name's Linda Chapman. So you're new here?
she asked.
Yes. Yesterday was my first day at this school,
he replied.
I liked your accent. Where are you from?
asked Linda.
I'm from Newbridge,
said Matt.
but now I live here.
When did you arrive?
Linda asked.
Well, about a month ago, during the summer holidays.
You see.
said Linda.
Why did your family decide to move to London? It must be nice to live in the north of England.
Matt looked embarrassed.
Well, I live with my gran now, because my parents died in an accident 6 weeks ago. Gran is my only relative. I haven't got any brothers or sisters.
Linda looked sympathetic.
Oh, I'm so sorry. It must be terrible to lose your parents.
She stopped for a moment, looking for the right words.
I know it's not the same, but my parents divorced recently. Now I only see my dad at the weekend, and my mum is a different person. She's always sad. I hate it.
Matt saw her green eyes become shiny with tears. He wanted to see Linda happy again. He decided to change the subject.
What do you do after school? Do you like sports?
he asked. Linda smiled.
Well, I like swimming.
Do you? Me too. I love it. And I like football too. Oh, you don't, do you? I heard you say that to Briggs,
Oh,
said Linda.
I like football if Briggs isn't there.
They laughed. Time seemed to stop while they chatted happily about their interests,
My favourite hobby is playing on the computer.
said Linda.
I love surfing on internet. I spend hours sending emails to my pen pals in France and Italy. And I like looking for interesting information for my school projects.
That's great.
Said Matt,
I like computers too, but I haven't got one.
Well,
said Linda.
you can come to my house one day to use my computer if you want.
Thanks, Linda. That's great.
Replied Matt. He looked at Linda, suddenly feeling shy. Linda looked at her watch.
Oh, it's nearly 9 o'clock. Our lesson starts soon.
She said,
Okay, let's go.
said Matt.
Boys' entrance, don't forget.
Laughed Linda.
Oh, Matt, where do you live?
I live in Boswell Street.
Said Matt.
That's near my house. I live in Simpson Road. We could walk home together after school if you want.
Linda suggested. Matt smiled. He wasn't embarrassed now. It was impossible to be embarrassed with Linda. He decided to leave his bike at school until tomorrow.
See you here at 4 o'clock.
He said. Linda smiled.
I usually go to the newsagent's for a bar of chocolate after school. I love chocolate.
She said.
I prefer fish and chips.
Laughed Matt. Linda laughed too and said goodbye. Matt watched her go into school. He felt very happy.
Now I've got a friend,
he thought.
Chapter 5. An Unusual Teacher.
Matt went through the boys' entrance. He went to the school office to get his timetable. In the corridor he saw Johnny Briggs with some friends. Johnny's friends were all boys, and they had the same aggressive expression as Johnny. They looked at Matt as he passed. Matt felt uncomfortable, but he ignored Johnny's sarcastic comments.
There he is, the new boy. He thinks he's someone important, but he's not. I'm glad he's not in my class.
Matt put his hands in his pockets and tried to look unconcerned.
You again. Take your hands out of your pockets,
said a voice. It was Mr. Briggs, Johnny's father.
You haven't got a uniform yet, Johnson, but at least try to look tidy.
Johnny and his friends laughed. Matt felt embarrassed, but he didn't show it.
Sorry, sir,
he said.
I have to go to Class 2B, Mr. Wells' history lesson, but I don't know where it is.
It's up the stairs. First door on the left. Lessons start in 2 minutes, so hurry up,
said Mr. Briggs. Matt arrived at the classroom and knocked on the door. Come in, said a deep voice. Matt walked into the room and asked,
Is this Class 2B?
A tall, thin man with long white hair, like Albert Einstein, answered. To be or not to be? Matt laughed too, and was pleased to see Linda there, at her desk in the 3rd row. There was an empty place next to her, so Matt sat there. Linda smiled and said,
Welcome to Mr. Wells' history lesson. It's an experience.
Linda was right. Mr. Wells was not a typical teacher. He talked very fast, and he gesticulated a lot when he spoke. His lessons were very interesting and fun. No one looked out of the window in Mr. Wells's class. That day they studied medieval history and the feudal system. Matt was fascinated by the descriptions of life in the Middle Ages. Mr. Wells introduced the class project, a study of medieval castles. I want everybody to prepare for our visit to Duxbury Castle next month, said Mr. Wells. It's a perfect example of a medieval castle. You can look for information on medieval castles in general or Duxbury Castle in particular. If anyone has a computer, they can use internet to find a lot of information. Tomorrow I'll show you how on my portable computer,
Matt, I've got an idea,
said Linda.
You can come to my house on Saturday. We can surf the internet and find material for the project.
Great idea,
replied Matt enthusiastically. On Saturday, Matt went to Linda's house. They found lots of interesting information on the internet for their project. Linda's mum was very friendly. She made a delicious lunch, a main course of fish and chips, and chocolate cake for dessert.
Chapter 6. The Class Trip.
It was the day of the class trip. Matt was very excited. He was keen to see the castle, but the trip had other advantages too. No school for a day, no school uniform, no school lunch, no Briggs, and all day with Linda. The doorbell rang.
Matt, Linda's here.
Coming, Gran,
said Matt, putting on his denim jacket over a red sweatshirt and jeans. He went downstairs.
Hi, Matt.
Linda was wearing a blue tracksuit and trainers.
Have you got your packed lunch?
She asked.
Here it is, Matt.
Said his gran, giving him a plastic box.
Cheese sandwiches, crisps, an apple, and a chocolate biscuit. Buy something to drink at the castle.
She gave him £1.
Thanks, Gran.
Have a lovely day, you two.
His gran smiled.
Thanks, Mrs. Francis,
said Linda.
Matt,
She continued.
you can put your lunchbox in my rucksack.
Thanks. OK, let's go. We mustn't miss the bus.
Duxbury Castle was an hour from Greenwood. The hour passed quickly. Talking, listening to the radio, and watching the London suburbs become beautiful open countryside. The trees were a splendid mix of green, red, and brown under a golden sun. A perfect English autumn day.
Look,
Cried Linda, pointing out of the window.
the castle. We're here.
It's great,
Said Matt.
I expected a total ruin.
No, Johnson. It's the best example of a 12th century castle in England. It was Mr. Wells. Listen, everybody. This is Duxbury Castle. It's an English heritage property, and there is a guided tour of 1 hour. You are divided into 2 groups. Surnames from A to J must go first at 11 o'clock. The second group, surnames K to Z, do the tour at midday. You must meet at the entrance 5 minutes before your tour starts. Now it's 10 o'clock, and you are free to look around the castle. Remember your project work, and think of intelligent questions for the guide. Also remember that you are responsible for Greenwood School's reputation. You must be good. Enjoy your visit,
That was lucky.
said Matt.
We're in the same group.
I know. Come on, let's look around.
They went into the castle,
Mr. Wells was right.
said Matt.
It is in good condition.
Yes, if you close your eyes, you feel you're in the Middle Ages. I can imagine the castle full of brave knights and beautiful ladies.
Said Linda dreamily. Matt smiled.
You read too many fairy tales.
Oh, Matt, I can dream, can't I? Come on, it's time for our tour.
They started to run towards the entrance. Matt! Linda! I know you're enthusiastic, but you mustn't run. It was Mr. Wells again.
Sorry.
They said together. I'll see you later. He smiled. Matt noticed that he had his portable computer in its case.
Matt,
Said Linda.
did you hear? He called us with our first names.
Yes, that's strange. And why has he got his computer?
Who knows?
Laughed Linda.
I'm more interested in the mysteries of Duxbury Castle than the mysteries of Mr. Wells.
Chapter 7. The Castle Tour.
Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome to Duxbury Castle.
The guide was a jovial, rotund man with a large white moustache.
Before I start, any questions?
Matt put up his hand.
Yes, sir. Why is it called Duxbury Castle?
A good question. Well, the castle is near the village of Duxbury. Near the village, there's a large pond, which is the favourite home of a variety of ducks. So that's Duxbury, the village of the ducks. In fact, Duxbury Castle used water from the pond for washing, cooking, drinking, and filling its moat. Many castles had ditches around them, without water. But a ditch with water, a moat, was better for defending the castle. You can see the moat is dry now. Once there was a wooden drawbridge over the moat. They raised this to stop intruders. Now we're at the main gate. Once there were 2 stone towers, the gatehouses. Between these was an enormous gate with iron bars, the portcullis. Now let's go inside the castle. The walls were stone and 10 meters high. There were turrets and ramparts, like those.
He pointed to an intact section.
Oh, I forgot to say the castle was built in 1156. It functioned as fortress and a home for 5 centuries. The lord of the manor lived in the keep, a big stone building and the strongest part of the castle. The manor was the distribution and cultivation of the land. The peasants from the village did the work, but the land was the lord's. The open space inside the castle was the bailey, with a well and stables. Now, any other questions?
Stubbs, the class joker, put up his hand. Where are the toilets? The guide laughed.
In the keep, there were small rooms over the moat with a hole in the floor. But if you need to go, they're near the drinks kiosk.
Matt and Linda both had questions, but Mr. Wells appeared behind them. Listen, he said urgently. I'm accompanying the other group. Can you take care of my computer? He gave it to Matt before they could answer. He was very nervous. Thanks, kids. See you later.
He's strange,
said Matt.
Very strange today.
Answered Linda.
Anyway, the tour's finished. Let's go to the kiosk. You can buy a drink and I'll buy some chocolate.
Linda went towards the kiosk, but Matt was transfixed. A strange noise came from the computer case, an insistent beep. He ran after Linda.
I bought you a Coke and some chocolate.
She stopped when she saw Matt's face.
Listen,
He said.
it's getting louder.
Open it.
Said Linda excitedly.
Here, behind the kiosk. Nobody can see us.
Matt opened the case, and the beep stopped.
An alarm?
He asked.
No, Matt. Look at the screen.
There was the image of an hourglass rotating quickly, and the words, "Press Enter to continue," flashed blue and red.
And now?
Said Matt. Linda pressed the Enter button. Nothing. A Mr. Wells joke, they thought, before an intense white light exploded from the computer, and they disappeared.
Chapter 8. Where are we?
Matt was the first to wake up.
What a strange dream,
He thought. He stood up and looked around.
Where am I? And Linda? I was with Linda. Where is she?
It was dark, but now he began to distinguish his surroundings. He was in the open air. There was a cool breeze, and he heard the noise of sleeping animals. There was a smell, too, of the animals, and of life in general. People lived here, but what place was it? There were stars in the sky above, but he was surrounded by walls of stone.
The castle. Of course. Now I remember. But there's something strange about it. It's night. And where's Linda?
Matt? Is that you?
Came a whisper from the dark, and Linda appeared in the moonlight. She was confused and frightened.
Where are we? What's happening?
She asked.
We're in the castle,
Said Matt.
but it's different. And why is it dark?
I don't know.
Stammered Linda.
Matt, I'm scared.
Suddenly a voice broke the silence of the night.
Who goes there?
It's a guard. He's got a sword.
Whispered Linda, and instinctively they started running away from the voice.
A torch! A torch! Wake up, intruders!
The voice shouted, and immediately the castle was full of flaming torches, making grotesque shadows on the walls. In the torchlight, Matt and Linda saw that the walls of the castle were intact. It wasn't a ruin. These people weren't English heritage guides. But there wasn't time to think.
Run, Linda! Run faster!
Yelled Matt.
Where are we going?
Cried Linda.
Out of here! Come on!
But a guard caught Linda.
Matt, don't stop! Run! Run!
She shouted. Matt wanted to stop, to help Linda. But in front of him there was another guard. He had a torch in one hand and a sword in the other. Matt ran up a staircase, up, and onto the ramparts. He noticed as he went that the castle was all perfectly intact. But now he was trapped. There was a guard on the staircase, and two other men with swords were on the ramparts to his left and right. They were all very angry.
The game is over, boy.
Growled the man on the stairs.
Oh, no, it isn't!
Shouted Matt, remembering the tour around the castle. The moat. The castle had a moat. Matt jumped from the ramparts and hoped desperately that his intuition was right. He hit the muddy water of the moat. The moon, reflected on the water, broke into 1,000 pieces. Inside the castle, Linda stood petrified between two guards with long swords. A tall man with dark, angry eyes, and a scar on his right cheek appeared.
And who are you?
Said the man, observing her closely.
My lord,
A guard said to the man.
look at her garments. She must be a witch.